Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome, 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 man. We're back again. We're back again. We're here with a special show, press conference right here in West Fresno. A historical day coming up this Sunday here at Free AME Ministries, right here on the Golden West Side. And I have one of my leaders to my left, right here. When I say my leader, this brother's had my back for many, many years. Brown Berets, and it's just an honor to have him on our show today. But Raphael, and we've done a lot of marching, protesting, shutting City Hall down, shutting freeways down. I mean, it's all fun, shutting River Park down, and but that's what we got to do, when we're seeking for justice in a community called Mississippi, Fresno, Cal, Alabama. And we're just here to educate, motivate, energize, organize, and mobilize, and take our community to a higher level. True liberation here, freedom. And then next to him is my other freedom fighter partner in crime, Miss Aline Reed. And Look, there's only a few women that I roll with, right? And she's one of them. And she's a diehard. Aline, how you doing this day? How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm better than good. Anytime I can sit with warriors and feel safe and secure in the knowledge that we are on the right path. To my right, as Reverend Harris has indicated, is our brother in the fight, Brother Raphael Avikia. And he is, some of you might know him from being with the Brown Berets, and he is going to share the press release that we prepared today for the Sunday event that's happening here at Free AME Ministry. So, Brother Raphael, if you would.
Yes, and thank you all. Thank you both for welcoming me and having me here. I'm going to read this press release for the media and for everybody. And this is what we have prepared for today and anticipation for Sunday, which is a historic celebration here in Fresno. And it reads, to all Fresno media, press conference to announce the Malcolm X 100th year celebration. Date, today is May 15th, 2025. And we're here at Dr. Floyd Harris Church. And this is the statement. We would like to announce the historic event taking place in Fresno on Sunday, May 18th. At 3 p.m. There will be we will mark 100 years of Malcolm X and how this wise and courageous young man's lessons during the Civil Rights Movement is more important today under the current Trump administration. We will also introduce some of our speakers who will speak on the connection being made with our current youth via poetry and art. That's because we have students develop poetry and art in honor of Malcolm X, and we want to honor those youth and continue to pass that baton along. That will be part of Sunday's events.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
thank you, brother.
And if you notice, we have our brother Malcolm X behind us, picture right in the middle. And, I want to put this disclaimer out there because I feel that there's been a misconception about Malcolm X. How, I talk to different people, really non-black folk, and they tell me that Malcolm X was a violent person. There's nowhere you will find any documentation, anything in history books to show that Malcolm was a violent man.
Right.
Matter of fact, Malcolm was a non-violent man, right? Just like Dr. King was, right? And even Dr. King, you won't find any literature showing or documentation that Dr. King was a violent man. But what's interesting is both of them died violently, right? But they wasn't violent.
Right. Because there's a difference between self-defense and somebody who is going out perpetrating violence on others. Even the Black Panthers, it's right there in the title, Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, which means we're not going to seek out to harm anybody, but if you come for us, we're going to defend ourselves and our people. There's a big difference between that and being violent.
Why do you think America doesn't celebrate Malcolm X like they do Dr. King?
It's the same reason America doesn't celebrate somebody like Reyes Tijerina. A lot of people have not heard of him, but he's the Chicano Malcolm X. In New Mexico, they picked up guns and started demanding their land back that had been taken from them. He actually served, time in the federal penitentiary for doing that with his men. But this is only after the sheriffs, the judges, everybody had basically shut them out, shut them down. But you never hear about what he did. And then there's other people like Jorge Gonzalez, who actually was a professional boxer. And he also, they called him the Chicano Malcolm X, because he too said that we need to have self-sufficiency. We need to teach our real history in schools. And he wasn't about to carry water for the Democratic Party. For example, during these times when other people would, right? Not to say that King did, because actually King wasn't even a Democrat.
Right,
know that. But there were wise people who knew how to fight. But the media also, in Operation Hummingbird, I don't know if you all are familiar with this, this is an operation by the CIA to specifically put out lies to the media and have the media promote it out during Malcolm X, going as far as back as before Malcolm X, even during the 50s and even 40s, where this operation was to mislead people through the media. And we've been wrestling with that for years of why don't we have some of our heroes up there like Malcolm X, who said we do need to organize and fight back. Why do we still have Cesar Chavez and Martin Luther King? Much love to those men, but the truth was, what is it that they're trying to teach us? They're trying to say that we're violent, that we shouldn't, we shouldn't turn on an oppressor that might be putting his boot on our neck.
That's right.
So I think part of that is that. And now, today's world with social media, it's even tougher because a lot of these young kids and adults have been raised in this silo of just Fox News or right-wing news where they're hearing something and only that one thing, and they're hearing about how violent Malcolm X was, how violent the Panthers were, how violent the Brown Berets were, and they're not getting the real history. So it's miseducation. That's what it comes down to, no matter what decade we're at.
We were all three of us were at a May Day celebration here recently, and I was heartened to see Black people out there doing their part to support everybody else, because remember, they were out there for immigration, they were out there for unions, and gay and lesbian, transgender rights, and the rights of Black people. So it's so important to have good allies when fighting this fight, and it's pretty tough in Mississippi, Fresno, Cal, Alabama. It's tough. I mean, Black people make up 6.5%. Okay, it's rough.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of connections with the Black Panther Party because, even when you do research on J. Edgar Hoover, you'll find out J. Edgar Hoover was the head director of the FBI. They wiretapped Dr. King illegally without a judge order.
Yes.
These are folks that was in the government, right?
That part.
That now we're supposed to salute and cross our heart and sing the pledge of allegiance and all the lies, right? And so basically, I don't do that anymore. So once you come into consciousness, right? Then you'll understand that words are powerful, and you'll understand that when you say something, it should have some meaning, and that it should have some substance to it.
Exactly.
But when we look at the behavior of this government today, even with Trump in office, even with Ronald Reagan, who had the audacity to tell the Black Panthers, you all can't carry guns.
That's right.
Right, but the Black Panthers said, well, we read your Constitution and it said we could carry guns.
Second Amendment.
But because we're exercising our Constitution, now you want to change the rules.
Right.
And that's what this government does.
That's what it does.
That's why I always said, it's about if you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in the book. That's why they didn't want us to read.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So when the Black Panther Party was college students, they wasn't thugs or
No,
they
not at all. Not at all.
everyday people that care about.
And see, and this is the important part, y'all. When Brother Raphael talks about Operation Hummingbird, and we see how far back this goes, this kind of, how do I want to say it, counterintelligence, kind of wiretapping and purposely misleading people. This has happened to all of us. All of us. I mean, people even forget, I can't remember if it was the 40s and 50s when the Bracero program came over, and then, the government says, well, we don't need you anymore, so see you. I mean, same thing that they did with enslaved Africans. After they decided in 1877, okay, Reconstruction is over, you've had 10 years, so that's it, and the U.S. troops pulled out, we had nothing. We had nothing. And the land that was given to us, the 40 acres and a mule, they took that back too and made us sharecroppers. So
there was a conversation with Fidel Castro. I purchased a book on Amazon. And you've been to Cuba. Couple, I've been.
I haven't been, yeah, but I'm going.
But can you talk to us more about, because Fidel went to, I believe it was Harlem,
yeah.
to meet with Malcolm.
He did.
Right? What is your thoughts about that conversation, or, and I believe they're allies. I really do. I believe that Fidel and Malcolm were allies.
Fidel had a hero's welcome, I understood from the book, in Harlem. Because the U.S. government did not want Fidel here at all, any place. And Malcolm said, you come to us and, everything, we'll take care of it. It's going to be cool.
But as an educator, is that information being transferred to today's youth?
Unfortunately not. The only place you're going to find that, and just to let people know, I am an educator, been teaching school my 26th year. Wow. High school history, so
He still looks young, man.
That look good.
and I've been going to Cuba since 2015, and you two have got to go. But to get back to the point, they're not, because the Teresa Hotel, I've forgotten that as a history teacher until I started going back to Cuba. I read that, and they do teach it in AP classes, but it's almost like it's choice. You could do this, you could do that, but they don't teach it. I teach it. I teach it in my regular history class, and I don't have AP yet, but you can find it in AP. But that's not fair to those students who don't have that economic edge to need those AP classes, or maybe lucky. That's very few. So they don't teach it. I do teach it. I know. I make sure, and I just let y'all know.
Your students are lucky.
Oh, I've had a poster of Malcolm X on my wall since for 25 years, and it's got a quote. I forget what it's saying. The quote has to do with education, one of the most powerful things. I've had it there for 25 years. People come in, and sometimes people would be shocked. There's Che Guevara, there's Malcolm X, and they're like, what? And yeah, they're learning real history, but unfortunately they're not teaching that in the quote-unquote AP classes unless it's a choice, and it shouldn't be that way. The kids should be taught that, and it should be part of our ethnic studies. Now, what I love about going to Cuba is they do recognize that. They do teach their kids that. And let me make, for anybody out there who might have questions about Cuba, Cuba is a black nation. People do not know that. I thought it was like brown, white, some black people. No, you go there and the African culture is embedded. The second in command in Cuba right now is a black man. I met him, big guy by the way. And you've got some important black African historical figures and images out there that will blow a history teacher away. But Malcolm is always there. They saw him as an ally. They knew that they had something in common, because when they turned Fidel away, Malcolm welcomed them at the Teresa Hotel. Right? Yes. In the heart of it. It was like, come on down.
Come on down.
So that was history happening right there. But I think we do need to teach more of this in high school. Unfortunately, we leave it to the teachers, and sometimes they don't even know.
Isn't that amazing, Reverend Harris? I mean, when you were speaking, the times when Raphael was speaking and mingling in the crowd, I was looking at all the little babies that were out there. there were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds out there with their parents, and I was congratulating the moms and the dads, saying, this is how you raise a progressive. This is how you raise somebody with an open mind and an open heart. There was no violence out there. There was no pushing, shoving, but there was a security guard who let us know that we weren't welcome in their parking lot.
What are you talking about, May?
At the Mayday,
Yeah.
But I would have never known that about Cuba unless you and Dr. Lenny Villagomez-Reeves was, telling us about this. So, Rev, we have to put that on our calendar. I want to go to Cuba. I really do.
And I say that because I think we need to unravel this miseducation for years. And even the quote-unquote Latino or Mexican-American culture, they have TV stations and you'll see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman speaking Spanish. She is Hispanic, and most of them are from, they used to be from Cuba, a lot of them, and this is the image that we get, and they're from Florida, but they're not actually Cubans in Cuba. Yeah, it's totally different.
Wow.
You go to Cuba, and you two are invited, so you gotta go.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go. Yes.
I might not come back.
I might not come back either.
Yeah.
And I got a reason. My mobility is, challenging, so I gotta stay in Cuba. Tupac's mama went to Cuba and stayed. She never came back yet. Asada Shakur is still in Cuba. She's in exile in Cuba, and I think she's loving it. Yeah, I think she's loving it.
If
So
I can retire in Cuba, I will.
Oh.
The government won't let you.
It's
another story right there.
it's rough. But I understand the literacy rate in Cuba is like 90% or more.
It's embarrassingly to the United States, I would say, but it's high. It's something they should be proud of because, of course, the United States keeps them with the blockade. The economic blockade has been on them for 70 years. And it's an act of war. As poor as they are, these people are highly educated and informed. You cannot tell them that they are dumb people because they are not.
I know their medical schools are the best, bar none.
And free.
And free!
Nobody pays. You get more, by the way, percentage of black doctors coming out of Cuba than you do, a large percentage than you do out of America. That's a 10 little percentage. Cuba surpasses it because they don't discriminate. And by the way, they have laws you can't discriminate against race. Over there, it is against law. In the United States, you can still legally discriminate against people.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so you do got a large portion of, we have armies here with weapons. They have an army there of doctors that they export all over the world.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're like wonderful medical schools.
isn't that something?
I remember Minister Farrakhan. I think it was Katrina, I believe, that Fidel said he was going to send his medical team over here to help and assist. And I think it was Bush said, "You're not sending. You don't even dare come over here."
Exactly.
And, it was like someone is offering help, and you're going to deny the help, right? And our people were. I think it was Katrina.
It was a nice war, and black people were dying, dying. Like
alligators on top of the roots for days and weeks.
All of that.
People defecate dying in that dome or super dome, whatever it's called. And Fidel said, "I'm gonna, here." And Bush said, "No, you're not."
And see, people forget about that. I mean, it's the same like Doctors Without Borders and all those doctors groups that go all over the world, like Gaza, Ukraine, or whatever, Africa. The Cuban doctors have always been in the forefront of that sort of thing.
It was them, to jump on yours there, it was them that cured or attacked and saved people from the Ebola during the Obama era. The Cuban doctors came in and did the work. A lot of people don't realize these doctors saved millions of lives. But you had a different administration there too, so it made a difference right there.
It's amazing. I mean, who was it, Rev? Was it Kanye or was it was Kanye that said Bush hates black people? He hates black people because, it's been 7 days and he ain't even been down there to see about nobody. And that was a very clear message about black lives in America.
But it takes me back to Malcolm.
Yes.
Malcolm has always taught independence.
Always.
He never taught laziness. He never taught any of it. He talked about eating healthy, he talked about exercising, he
Yes.
talked about, you know, being a good woman, being a good man, accountability,
Discipline, yes.
discipline. And when you look at all the characteristics of Malcolm, you see a man who just
He transformed himself.
loved people.
Yes.
I mean, this brother Malcolm, when he first started out, he was in the hood. He was slanging
Big
dope.
time.
He was a drug pusher, a pimp, a player, a
All of
hustler.
that.
You know, shooting people, running numbers in Harlem, and all this
Pimping,
stuff.
yeah.
And Malcolm did not go to the European school system.
No.
His education came on the sidewalk, right?
Yes, it
And
did.
then when he went to jail or prison, he met the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
And they're like, brother, you don't have to do all that.
Yeah.
You don't have to do all that. So, you talking about a man who was probably
He had a
one of the
PhD.
most profound speakers in the world, did not even go to college.
Self-educated.
Self-educated himself. And he always said, the worst thing a white man could ever have done was to let me read his history book.
Hello.
Yes.
That's true. He did say that. He did say that.
Right?
He did.
And so he had time to read and educate himself like, wow, I didn't know all this, right? And so sometimes people talk, oh, you're a bad person because you're going to jail, you're going to prison. Hey, the way I look at it, sometimes that's the time you have some me time and educate yourself and to come out of prison
Exactly.
just a profound speaker.
Isn't that what Sister Calliope Correa always talks about with the Insight Garden program that she runs for the state of California? Rehabilitation, but nobody's getting hardly rehabilitated. These violent people are working in a garden, learning a better way. So, Rev, it's just like what you say. The transformation can happen if given the opportunity, but people need support. I'm an abolitionist. I think that prisons are terrible. I think that they're all about punishment and not about rehabilitation or redemption. But Malcolm has shown us that that is possible. I mean, we're talking about a man whose parents were Garveyists, who followed Marcus Garvey. His father was murdered by the KKK. His mother, who had 6 children by his father, legally married, went insane dealing with the racism in the South. And so these kids got farmed out, and of course, you know, you see your family decimated, what are you supposed to do? I mean, but this man made a choice. And if Malcolm can do it, our young people can do it. We're not leaving anybody behind. And these are 2 brothers right here who have proved that they are on board with their people and their neighborhoods. And see, this is where allyship is so important. We need allies, and we don't have to think about what we say and do in front of them. We know that when we look at each other, we can trust each other. Malcolm even had something to say about white liberals. He said, be careful. You know, be careful because you never know when they might turn on you. And that's just a fact. I mean, history has shown us that that is a fact, because how is it that 53% of white women voted for Trump? They voted for the Dorito. And what does the Dorito say? He says, oh, well, I'm going to think for you since you can't think for yourself. You know, I want to pay you $1,000 per woman. You know he talking about white women. He ain't talking about sisters, black or brown sisters, to have children. And why is this happening, y'all? Because they're afraid of a black and brown body. They're afraid that the white race is being wiped out. Globally, they're already a minority. But this brother showed us the way in a nonviolent way. He said, do for self. That's basically what Nation of Islam is about. Do for self.
And, you know, going back to Malcolm talking about, you know, the babies, Leo talking about babies, women having babies and paying them. Right before Gaza occurred, the genocide started in Gaza because this war was already happening and it was on the people of Gaza. I remember the Israeli forces being scared, saying, we need to hurry up and have more kids. And I used to think, are they joking? Are they joking? And the white Americans too, by the way, I used to listen to these white supremacist podcast. They were talking about having more kids. Wow. I didn't understand exactly what they meant. But sure enough, October 7th happens, and they escalate the genocide that was already happening, and now they've almost wiped out all the children, all the people, you know, and Trump is here talking about paying women $1,000 to have kids, and like I said, it's not, black, brown women, they definitely don't want that. So, yeah, history will repeat itself. The good thing about Malcolm, and we can go back and check the record, because a lot of our heroes, quote unquote, weren't on the right side of history. Malcolm was when it came to the Middle East and came to Palestine. And that we were ahead of the game on that, I think, a long time ago. So this is an example of when, you know, history is right. You know, you got to stand on principle.
Got to
stand on principle. And yeah, definitely stand for the oppressed. And he did.
Absolutely.
So this is like our second or third Malcolm X event celebration. We also planted a tree out here in remembrance of Malcolm. And it gives me an opportunity to talk to our youth about that. I've asked my congregation to stay for the event on Sunday. Let's talk about, what do Sunday look like? What is it, I mean, when it's all over, what do we want the people to take away and say, like, wow, for 2 hours we got, you know, take something away, you know, fired up, I'm ready to go. You know, what are the marching orders, you know, like when we leave, you know, because I think I think we have a lot of great organizers in Fresno.
We do.
And,
because 2 hours really is pretty short. It's going to be a fast-moving kind of program.
And it's like, you know, of course we're very organized, detailed, timely, but we have great speakers, we have a great opening, a great end, a great middle. There's no, you know, diverse folks are going to be here, allies are going to be here. Could be some more new allies we get.
Yes.
But when it's over, what do we want the people to like take away from this? Like, and I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to my brother about it. Why do we have to wait till next year?
Exactly. He always does this, Sean.
It's true. We're doing it on the 18th. You know, that's what, May 18th?
May 18th.
Why we gotta wait a whole year? Why we can't do something in between?
And here's the thing, we're hoping that all of you come, because we're going to have a Q&A session after our second speaker.
Right.
And these are the things we need to talk about. It's like when you talk about Kwanzaa and the principle of Ma'at, you know, we practice those principles every single day in the community. This brother practiced, I mean, because every group of people culturally might call it something different, but it all boils down to the same thing. And so we don't have to wait, but we have to be there for one another. You know, I'm just going to speak for myself. I'm not down with Neighborhood Watch because I do not deal with Fresno PD or the Sheriff's Department. Nothing wrong with them. I got people in law enforcement in my family. But we could be looking out for ourselves. You know, and how many times have you heard me say, Rev, that, you know, this location is a sanctuary for anybody who comes here. If you come by this church and the gate is open, that means somebody is here, and if you need help, you can get help. If you need food, you can get food. If you need clothing, you know, they probably have something here that'll fit you. You can say that about the Catholic Church. Those are real sanctuary locations. We need to do that in all our neighborhoods. Southeast, Southwest, we need to look at each other and say, okay, well, you know, I saw you tinker with your car. What's wrong? Can I help you? You need gas? You need water? You know, coolant? What? Be there for one another.
So talk to us about Saturday. Like, who's our speakers? I see all these pictures on this flyer. Who's all those people? You know.
Well, I'll speak about a few of them. How about that? And I know what I want. And just in general, I want people to walk away with something that we always walk away with is a feeling that, hey, we're on the right track. Or, hey, we got to just step it up a little bit as organizers. But at the end of the day, the feedback I've gotten from a lot of people, especially young people, is that they're like, wow, I didn't know this existed in Fresno. I thought you only did this in LA or New York City. And for me to hear something like that, I'm like, okay, we are. I look at the national level and international level, Fresno is known. And I am shocked sometimes when people refer to us for feedback as to how do you do this, what do you do in this case. Even people from Los Angeles and the Bay Area will reach out to us because they, and a lot of them are young now, they haven't done it, or maybe the older ones have passed on. But I want people to walk away with a feeling of support, solidarity, that they're on the right track, or maybe have learned something different. I know when we've done the King events, the same things have happened. But I am highly interested in Dr. Melissa Knight. I'm curious and interested in hearing into what she has to say and how you handle stress.
Yes.
Today, mental health, suicide,
Come on.
you name all those things. I'm looking forward to learning something from an expert like her. And I don't know if Dr. Ezzy's going to, or Michael Ezzy's going to do the same thing, or he's going to touch on those things. But regardless of what they touch on, I'm looking forward to learning a new lesson that I can apply in my life. Because Kwanzaa is a beautiful practice of principles. We have communalism in the Chicano, Indigenous, Mexican, and Latino community. And what that means is we actually share things. We actually are very sharing and loving, and we're going to make sure that those things, and that's everybody. You know, that's everybody.
That's
all
right.
Indigenous people and black, even white people have been like that.
Yeah.
But those are things that have been forgotten. And when we come together on this Sunday, I know that's why I feel.
That's
So
what
we
yes.
bring food, we bring knowledge, we bring laughter, and nobody's turned down. Nobody's ever turned down. So it's a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to those things. I'm looking forward to this guy here, Dr. Floyd Harris.
Oh my goodness.
That man.
Oh my goodness. He's gonna open up the
You
agenda.
heard him say he's in education, right?
Yeah.
He's been my teacher for 26
And
years.
well, you know, he is an educator in the classroom, but he's also a trained attorney. And people don't always know that this brother's got a JD. So don't step to him with some, BS about,
You
we
don't
gonna arrest
say it
people.
all. You don't say it all. He's a doctor too. All
Yes,
right? We got
yes,
a
he is.
doctor
Come on,
behind
yeah, that's true. That's true. So see,
He
we
never
know.
talks about it though.
See, no, he does not. No, he does not. But we know it, and we know the kind of person that he is. So when he says he's listening to Dr. Melissa Knight about trauma and stress, that's important. And Dr. Michael Easy is going to talk about. He's going to string together, connect the dots from Malcolm to Patrice Lumumba from Africa, and Frantz Fanon, who is famous for writing The Wretched of the Earth. And Wretched of the Earth is a text that was required reading if you were joining the Black Panther Party in the 60s. I know my cousins had to read it, the ones who joined the Panthers. I read it in college, and, I would advise everybody to read it. But anyway, Brother Michael Easy is going to connect the dots for us because these two men, Lumumba and Fanon, were contemporaries. And see, next year we're going to be celebrating Fidel and Malcolm on Malcolm's birthday. And so those of you who want to be involved, you can come and help with the organizing and, help support this knowledge and pass that along to the young people because I'm on the other side of 60, right? So it's time for me to sit down and be there and support all the tadpoles that are coming behind me. I want to sit on the porch and just watch, all the stuff go by and be proud, like I am proud of these two brothers here. So,
This year we're doing something historical that we didn't do the first 2 years. Is that we engage the youth,
yeah.
which for me, that's I'm with youth. I roll with youth. I work with youth every day, every week in my Freedom School. Talk to us a little bit about that component, that piece. I can only see that piece getting stronger and stronger. And we, reach out, conversations about, what should we do. And that was what I was telling you, Alan, sometimes I go to big conferences, you know, they have a little, you know, how do you like the event, you know, what would you like to see next year, you know.
Right.
It's important for me to know, like, some people are shy, you know, they don't want to sit, but they'll write it down.
Right,
You know,
right.
like this, or things like that, or I want some of Reverend Harris greens, or collard greens.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
What do you think about this year with the youth being involved in what we're doing?
That was something I wish we would have done earlier. I think because we're coming out of the pandemic, we still hadn't even thought about that because we weren't sure what was going to happen with schools. People were still learning online. But this year, the response with some of these students was incredible because, for example, the poets who submitted some of these poems, when I read Winnie Love Quesada, she's a senior, I believe, in one of the closest high schools, and she's a young 17-year-old. She wrote this poem, a beautiful poem about Malcolm, and it had to do with transformation. I didn't expect that coming necessarily from a high school student. I wasn't sure she was going to get that deep, but she did. Blew me away, and I think I shared that poem with you.
Yes, you did.
Another student, Quentin Burton Hayes, he's one of my students, did an art piece. I'll just bring it out real quick.
Please show
And
it.
I'll just show it off here to you all, but quick art piece just to commemorate who Malcolm X was. But this is hand drawn, and obviously we
That's
can
awesome.
photocopy with the Photoshop nowadays. But for them to take time to actually do something by hand, recite something as a poem,
Yes.
that takes a lot of effort nowadays. With AI, you can probably construct something. These kids aren't doing it; it's coming straight from the heart. So I'm looking at them like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It's still coming from here. And so I think hopefully next year they pick up. I want to see more participation if we can get that. I think we can, especially knowing now where we're probably going to be another year from now. We definitely want to push it at a greater level if we can.
Absolutely.
And reward these students if we can. I know we as a Brown Berets have been giving away a scholarship for the last 16 years since our existence. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing one of us or put together something where we give this to the students, right?
That's a wonderful idea.
Just something to think about. Because
Well, these students who submitted this year, they're getting cash prizes. So hopefully they're going to come, read their poetry, and receive their cash prize. So
Look, we want to thank y'all for watching us today. This press conference and dialogue is very important. But I also want to say that when it comes to the children, the young folk, that even in Fresno Freedom School, if you're going to college, colleges want, and you're an educator, colleges want to know who is this coming on our college. You know, you could be going to, my son went to Southern University, you could be going to Grambling, you could be going to
Prairie View.
Prairie View. Your niece want to go to
She wants to go to Howard.
Howard.
Yeah.
You have to fill out an application.
Yes, you do.
Right? You have to submit your grades.
Yes.
They may ask you to write an essay. They may, all these different things. They want to see, are you just a straight A student? Are you just a book person? That's all you do is books?
Are you fully rounded?
Because
Yes.
universities want rounded children, right? That can be able, because a university is a campus. It's like a community. And they want to know that you could be able to adapt to different cultures and this and that, Or you're just going to be someone, like a nerd just up under the tree, interact with nobody, right? So all the stuff that the youth are doing is not in vain. Because whatever university they want to go to, they can get a support letter from us saying, hey, this day, this time, they did this, and that, at this Malcolm X.
Yes.
And that goes in their portfolio.
It goes in there.
So even though we appreciate what they're doing, we really do, it goes further than that.
It does.
It goes further than
Because
that.
we're all about the young people.
Yeah.
We really are.
And when I'm in universities and they're starting going to all these applications, hey, man, Fresno, you did what? You read what? What?
And that's really down to folks like you and Brother Raphael, because you all take it internationally.
Yeah.
You take it internationally.
No, I was just gonna say, we talked about Cuba earlier. I know we want to sponsor you two to go to Cuba and see it. If we can, there's a committee here locally in Fresno does that. Well, there's been people who've taken their teenage sons, daughters, and kids in the community and others. I know that in the future I would not mind doing something like that for our youth. And it's a great experience to see what's out there internationally, travel, to go see the world. But going back to the artwork, yeah, anything like that can definitely help them. And they're going to have to be more than just straight A students.
Absolutely. I'm hoping, well, I'm trying really hard to work on a black theater group based here at Fame. So I'm hoping we can do something with more performative art next year. But that's just my dream. It's really going to be up to the committee. And hey, come Sunday, May 18th, to help us celebrate Malcolm X's 100th birthday.
100th birthday. You see it. Be here this Sunday, 806 Collins, right here on the golden west side of Fresno, California, better known as the West Side. And so please come and be our guest, our family, and you get good hospitality.
Have cake.
And they even have a cake for you to eat, and also have a gym for you to come work out in. And eat that cake. Burn the calories. You see, she's laughing. She's supposed to be here this Friday.
That's true.
All right,
That's true. I'll be on the
but
treadmill.
anyway, we just want to thank you all. We love you all.
We love you.
Share this TV podcast with your friends and family. Come on out. If you need to reach me, I'm at 559-790-4277. Dr. Harris, 559-790-4277. And also Raphael here at 977-4247. 977-4247. And this is for you. Everything we do, the three of us, our committee, is about the community. It's not about us. It's about the next several generations that's coming after us.
That's
You
right.
have to be able to teach you. You have to be able to learn. Pick up a book. Read a half a page a day. Read a full page a day.
Yeah.
Read a chapter if you can. But every day, read something so it will massage your mind and the little things in your brain
The
that
more
makes
you
it
read, the
tick
more you
and
want
type.
to read.
And so knowledge is power. Power is knowledge. We educate, motivate, energize, organize, and mobilize, and take our community to our higher level. Power to the people, and we will see y'all this Sunday at 3 o'clock.
All right, thank you.
All right. Good job, y'all.
Man.
I know.